Congratulations. You just got invited on a great podcast as a guest. And as you're going through the invitation, you notice a link for a press or for a release, a legal release that you need to sign before going on there. The question is, what's the release and should I sign it? Well, first of all, let me say, I'm Tom Schwab with Interview Valet. I am not a lawyer. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn last night. I don't give legal advice, but I do want to share with you what I have learned in my experience on over 1,200 podcast interviews and working with our clients, over 500 clients on 20,000 interviews. Now, first of all, what is a guest release? Basically, it's a legal agreement that says, hey, I give my permission to use my content of this interview, what we talk about, that you can put it on your podcast, that you can promote it on your website. Some of them will even say that I could use it, the content from the interview in a book, right? So you look at Tim Ferriss's wrote a book that was basically off all of the interviews that he had. Now, most podcast hosts do not have asked for a release. And I don't know, maybe it's just the nature of the business. If you go on television or radio, you're much more likely to get asked to sign a release. And I think that's really because they've are trained journalists and they're used to it. The other thing too is they probably got a lot of corporate lawyers that saying you need to do this, right? Because there are horror stories with this of a guest coming back and saying, well, I don't want you to use that anymore. And I demand that you take this down or that you edit it in a certain way. And the guest starts to control what the host can do with the content. Now, if there's no written agreement, the host, as I understand it, really has no leg to stand on. And to me, we should go into this with an understanding of what we're doing with this. And some people could say, well, it's an understood agreement. Well, understood agreements never go well when people have a misunderstanding. So my personal experience is I read through those. I've actually sent them to a corporate attorney. The one that I always recommend and I always point people to is Gordon Firemark. Gordon's a intellectual property lawyer. He's a media lawyer out of Los Angeles. Super smart guy, especially when it comes to podcasting. He understands the medium. He's well respected. You'll see him speaking at all the podcast conferences when there's ever anything to do with any legal ramifications. And even if you want to find out more about this, go to gordonfiremark.com. He writes a lot about it. In fact, one of the things that he gives a lot of podcast hosts is a podcast release form. So often the release form that you're seeing was probably written by Gordon. And so as you get these, once again, I'm not a lawyer. If you've got any questions about it, take it to your lawyer, get legal advice. But as a rule, I don't have a problem signing these. I look at it and say, yes, this is basically what we agreed to, what the understanding was going into it. I'd love to be a guest on your show. I hope you promote this to your audience. I hope you put it up on your website. For heaven's sakes, if you write a book and you put my name in it, my company name, that's great. So all of that, just having that documentation can help. So right now, I'd say of the 1,200 podcast interviews I've been on, less than 5% have actually asked for a release. But when they do ask for it, I don't have a problem signing it. If you want to see what an example is of this, I'll put the link down to Gordon's website and his release form down there. So at least you can see one. Maybe the next time you're talking with your legal counsel, you could ask them, hey, what do you think of this?